I don't fail my manifestations because I do something wrong. I fail because I do too much of the wrong thing, and almost none of it is my fault. I was taught to achieve my desires the same way I was taught to achieve success, love, or security, through effort, repetition, and action. But the quantum world doesn't work that way. The quantum world does not respond to effort. It responds to coherence. And coherence is the opposite of coercion. The universe does not listen to my efforts. It listens to my signal. And when my signal is distorted by desperation, overthinking, controlling, or expecting, the field does not know what to collapse. Not because I am unworthy, not because I am blocked, but because the vibration I emit is chaos, not clarity. As Neil Donald Walsh once said, the universe always says yes. Here's the first truth no one told me. The quantum field is conscious, not in the way I'm used to. It doesn't judge, compare, or calculate. It reflects. It mirrors. It tunes to who I am, not what I ask for. And who I am is not determined by my vision board or how many times I repeat my affirmations. It's determined by how quiet my energy is beneath the surface, how much I trust what I can't yet see, how willing I am to feel like it's already mine, without proof, without guarantees, without an outcome to hold on to. As Dr. Joe Dispenza points out, thoughts create feelings, and feelings create thoughts. It's a cycle that determines our state of being. And this is where most people fail, not in their reality, but in their frequency. Because the moment doubt creeps in, the moment discomfort sets in, the moment the timeline seems too quiet, I try to fix it. I double down. I push harder. I grasp at rituals and signs and numbers, trying to control what was never meant to be controlled. I think, if I do more, maybe the universe will notice. Maybe the field will respond. But the quantum field doesn't respond to noise. It responds to resonance. And resonance is not loud. It's stable. It's an invisible coherence signal that says, I'm not waiting for this. I already am this. The shift doesn't happen when I visualize perfectly, but when my body, breath, and field settle into the feeling that there's nothing left to pursue. Then my frequency becomes magnetic because it's not full of demands. It's full of presence. I might think, but I have to want this. Isn't desire the engine of creation? Yes and no. Desire is the spark, but need is the hindrance. When I need something so much that I cannot rest in its absence, my energy says it is not here. And quantum consciousness, being what it is, tunes into that. That is why so many manifestations get stuck at 99%. I feel it, I see it, I am so close I can touch it, but then nothing. Why? Because just before it collapses into form, my signal destabilizes. I fall out of coherence, I fall into doubt. And the field, as always, mirrors this shift exactly. So the real secret is not to manifest more. It is to become unflappable. Not emotionless, not passive, but energetically calm, trusting still. Because from this place, my frequency becomes readable, pure, clear. The field does not have to guess. It knows and responds. It is not something I push into. I surrender to it. And surrender is not a refusal. It is a transfer. It is the art of detaching from the version of yourself that always grabs and entering the version of yourself that is already aligned, already tape recorded, already home. So maybe the question isn't, how can I manifest faster? Maybe the question is, what part of me is still trying to force something that I could relax into? Because if the quantum field is conscious, and it is, then it knows exactly what frequency I'm working from. And it can't be fooled by words. It can't be impressed by rituals. It only mirrors who I am. That's the real practice. Not getting louder, but clearer. Not trying harder, but trusting more deeply. Not manifesting through control, but through coherence. I've tried to force the field before. We've all done it. But what if I don't have to? What if the whole game changes the moment I stop channeling chaos and start channeling calm? That's what we'll explore next. As Einstein says, everything is energy, and that is all there is. Tune into the frequency of the reality you want, and you will inevitably get that reality. It cannot be otherwise. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Can I show you how? Let me show you something that no one else explains. When I send a desire from a space of chaos, urgency, or inner dissonance, the field does not respond to the content of my thought. It responds to the quality of my presence. And presence is not measured by how focused I am on an outcome. It is measured by how stable my frequency is without the need for an outcome to appear. That is what no one told me. I do not manifest through attention. I manifest through regulation, not nervous system regulation in the clinical sense, although that is important, but vibrational regulation, inner stability, emotional coherence, energetic integrity. Simply put, the quieter my energy becomes, the louder my signal becomes. The field does not mirror my words. It mirrors my tone, not the tone of my voice, but the tone of my frequency. And when that tone is heavy or shaky or laden with longing, it is not saying, I want this. It is saying, I don't trust this. And a quantum field that operates at resonance returns exactly what it receives. Think of it this way. If my vibration is an antenna, then every time I worry, doubt, or obsess about how this is going to happen, I start changing stations. I turn away from the song I want to hear and go static. Not because I'm bad at manifesting, but because no one taught me that clarity comes from stillness, not strategy. So what does it mean to be still? It doesn't mean to be passive. It doesn't mean to be numb. It means my system is no longer dropping frequency. It means I'm no longer pursuing my desire with a vibration of lack. It means my signal has stopped sending mixed messages. And then the field receives the message clearly, cleanly, without contradiction. This is why so many people feel exhausted by manifestation, because they spend hours trying to project the right thought, the right feeling, the right ritual, while internally vibrating the opposite. They say, I have it, projecting, I don't have it. They state, it's done, emotionally signaling, I hope this works. But the field is conscious, not like a mind, but like a mirror, and it doesn't grant what I ask for. It collapses what I am. This is where quantum manifestation comes in as deeply honest and even spiritual, because I cannot fool the conscious field. I cannot bypass my own frequency. I can only become coherent with the version of reality I claim to want or not. So what is coherence exactly? It's like a calm anticipation. It's like an inner confidence that's not tied to evidence. It's like acting, speaking, and moving from a place of already mine. Not to convince myself, but because that's the only thing that makes sense. It's like trusting the unseen so much that I no longer need the visible to confirm it. When I'm in this state, I'm not chasing an outcome. I'm not even trying to hold a frequency. I become the frequency. And from that moment on, life doesn't change because I willed it to. It changes because it no longer has a reason not to. The quantum field doesn't hold my desires hostage. It holds them in place, waiting for me to match them. Not in my words, but in my energy. Not in my logic, in my coherence. Not in my timeline, in my stability. And here's the most misunderstood part of all this. Compulsion doesn't just block the signal, it blocks my ability to receive. Because the moment I begin to control the how, I narrow the path of possibility. I take a vast field and reduce it to my narrow view of how things should unfold. But the quantum world doesn't follow my timetable, it follows my signal. And when that signal becomes quiet and grounded and unerringly coherent, then everything begins to accelerate. Not because I demanded it, but because the field has no other choice. I'm no longer broadcasting possibility, I'm broadcasting reality. So the invitation is simple. Not to do more, not to vibrate harder, but to tune in more deeply, to listen to my own frequency as closely as I expect the universe to listen, and to feel when I am making noise, and to return to clarity instead. Because here's the secret no one tells. The field doesn't just hear what I say, it feels when I finally stop waiting. And then it comes, not as a reward, but as a match. Most people think that manifestation is something that happens in the future, that it is a result of something I do now. But in the quantum field, there is no later, there is only now. And if my frequency is always set to soon, the field will mirror that endlessly. Because soon is not a timeline, it is a signal. And if I am vibrating almost there, then almost is exactly what will be reflected. So when does manifestation actually happen? Not when I convince myself it will happen. Not when I say the perfect phrase or visualize in high resolution. It comes the moment my energy no longer argues with my vision. The moment I become a pure vessel for what I am channeling. The moment the quantum field, conscious as it is, feels no resistance within me. It happens in the absence of force, and often it comes not as a miracle falling from the sky, but as a timeline I barely noticed I had moved into, because the version of me that is receiving what I asked for is not waiting for confirmation. It lives as confirmation. This is where so many people get confused. They think letting go means giving up, but letting go doesn't mean giving up desire. It means letting go of need. It means no longer squeezing the outcome so tightly that my vibration becomes rigid, tense, and unreadable. It means trusting that the field is not ignoring me. It is simply waiting for a stable signal. Think of the field as a tuning fork. If my energy is vibrating with uncertainty, anxiety, or obsession, it cannot sync with the reality I want, no matter how much I want it. But the moment I stabilize at the frequency of, I am already living this, I create resonance. This resonance collapses potential into experience, not as a favor, but as a law. And what does that look like? It looks like walking through the day with a calm knowing. It looks like taking inspired action without needing it to work. It looks like smiling at the thought of my manifestation before it even shows up, because I'm no longer dependent on it to feel aligned. It looks like inner peace before outer evidence. It looks like living within the vibration rather than checking the calendar for results. Because here's the truth. Quantum manifestation does not reward effort. It responds to identity. And my identity is not who I say I am. It's who I am with every breath I take. So how do I make this shift? I stop chasing. I stop waiting. I stop rehearsing my future as if it were a play I'm not yet allowed to enter. And instead, I enter it through vibration, through coherence, through choosing to feel and think and act like the version of myself that's already home. This is what Neville meant when he said, envision the feeling of fulfillment. This is what Joe Dispenza meant when he said, to change your personal reality, you must become someone else. This is what Abraham meant when she said, let go of the oars and the current will take you. They all pointed to the same truth. I cannot have what I am not in alignment with. And alignment is not something I achieve. It is something I allow. So ask yourself, how would I feel if this were already here? Not what would I do? How would I feel? Would I still be refreshing the screen, asking for signs, running another technique? Or would I simply exist in the energy of confidence, softness, and embodiment? Because that is the essence of collapse. That is where the quantum world responds when I am no longer performing my alignment, but living it. When I am no longer vibrating, I hope this works, but instead radiating, this is who I am now. And that shift is quiet. So quiet that it does not need to be acknowledged. So quiet that most people miss it because they are still listening to something loud. But the field hears it instantly, because the silence of true coherence is unmistakable. So maybe it's not about manifesting something. Maybe it's about becoming someone. And maybe the version of me that has already made the leap isn't out there somewhere. Maybe it's just been waiting for me to tune into it. In the next section, we'll break the pattern of holding frequency one moment and losing it the next. We'll delve deeper into the process of maintaining the shift and what it means to build a life that reflects my alignment, rather than constantly chasing it. Let's move forward. There is a reason I keep falling out of frequency, even after feeling so aligned. It is not because I am weak. It is because I am programmed to survive, not to surrender. And for most people, surrender feels unsafe. I have believed for years that control equals power, that action equals progress, that planning, fixing, adjusting, constantly adjusting is what keeps me safe. But in the quantum world, control is not power. Coherence is power. Joe Dispenza once said, when you live in survival, you are trying to predict the future based on the memory of the past. That is not creation. That is repetition. Let that sink in. Every time I fall out of coherence and fall back into the grip, thinking that one more practice will open the door, I am not creating my future. I am looping my old emotional signature. I am transmitting doubt in the suit of effort. And the field, conscious and precise, reads it perfectly. So how do we stabilize this frequency? How do we stop falling back into old patterns, even when our heart knows better? It starts with understanding this. The field doesn't just respond to my moment of coherence, it responds to my sustained embodiment. Think of coherence as tuning a violin. I can strike the right note once, and that's my meditation, my affirmation, my moment of clarity. But if I don't maintain the string, the pitch shifts. Not because I failed, but because the energy naturally follows my attention. And when my attention returns to doubt, to time, to results, my vibration follows. It's not sabotage, it's physics. This is where Neville Goddard's wisdom becomes more than poetic. He said, change the way you think about yourself, and you automatically change the world you live in. He wasn't talking about superficial self-esteem. He was talking about a state of being, about becoming the version of me that doesn't wonder if it's coming because it's already living it, about replacing intellectual belief with vibrational consistency. But it doesn't happen in one breakthrough. It happens in 1,000 quiet decisions I make every day. When my old self says, see if this works, and I say, no, I trust the field. When my mind says, let's try harder, and my body says, let's breathe deeper. When my energy says, make it happen, and my soul says, anchor it. Then I begin to shift from effort to stability. Then the timeline I've been waiting for ceases to be a vision and becomes a frequency I walk within. Abraham Hicks described it as the art of receiving. They said, you don't have to figure everything out. You just have to be in a place of allowing. Allowing is not passive. It's precise. It's an energetic agreement that says, I am available now, not when it shows up, now. And the quantum world listens to that. That's why people who try less often show up more. Not because they care less, but because they carry less resistance. They've stopped asking, they've stopped testing, they've stopped needing the universe to prove themselves. Because when the signal becomes clear, it becomes irresistible. So if I slip again, good. It means I'm paying attention. It means I'm close enough to feel the difference between tension and alignment. It means my nervous system is awakening to a new way of being. And in that moment, the most powerful thing I can do is stop, not react, not fix, just stop and breathe. Feel the pattern trying to repeat itself and choose not to follow it. Feel the fear rising and let it pass through you without grabbing it. Feel the urge to chase and instead return to your center. Because that moment, that tiny internal shift, tells the field that something is different now. In the field of I, conscious as it is, will meet you there. So here is my invitation. Simple, powerful, and immediate. Leave this phrase in the comments below if it resonates with you. I trust the field. Say it not to manifest. Say it to declare that you have stopped chasing. Say it to align your words with your energy. Say it because it is already yours. And in the next section, we will come full circle, not with another technique, but with a reminder that mastery is a frequency, not a skill, and that you were never meant to force your way forward. You were meant to fine-tune your path home. Ready? I have heard the teachings. I have practiced the methods. I have visualized the results. But maybe what I have been searching for all this time is not another tool. It is a deeper remembrance. A remembrance that I am not here to ask reality to change. I am here to realize that I am changing reality, not through force, but through frequency. And that frequency becomes stable the moment I refuse to fall back into effort. The moment I stop rehearsing my worth and start radiating it. The moment I stop asking, how do I get it? And start asking, how can I relax into it more deeply? This is not just manifestation. This is energetic sovereignty. Because when I stop forcing the quantum field to deliver, it starts listening more intently. Not because I finally deserve it, but because I finally aligned with it. I stopped yelling. I stopped doubting. I stopped negotiating with time and circumstance, and I started broadcasting clarity. This is what changes timelines. I moved from being a seeker to being a signal. I stopped trying to control and start allowing with precision. I no longer ask when it will come. I ask, how can I continue to embody the version of myself that is already there? And the universe, quiet, intelligent, coherent, responds through resonance. It rearranges circumstances in ways my mind could not have planned. It moves people, ideas, opportunities, and synchronicities into place with elegance, not because I forced them to, but because I tuned into them. And the version of me that is already on tape is not in the future. It is one decision, one breath, one deep silent agreement with myself to step forward and say, wait, I am done performing for my dreams. I am ready to become them. Because once I stabilize in the energy of already, I stop chasing. I stop pretending. I stop holding the vibration as if it were a performance. I just live inside it as if it were my natural state, because it is. The old paradigm taught us to manifest through control. But this path, the path you are on now, is to manifest through coherence, through regulation, through spiritual stillness. And this stillness is not weakness, it is strength, a strength that does not need to be pushed because it already knows it is aligned. So here's the truth. I don't need another ritual. I don't need another sign. I don't need another external confirmation. I need my own permission to stop trying, to stop fixing, to stop sending the field 10 different messages with 10 different vibrations, and to start transmitting one clear signal. I am now. I am ready. I am this. This is the frequency that opens the timelines. This is the vibration the field has been waiting for. And this is the space where reality bends. Not because I told it to, but because I finally became coherent enough for it to trust me. So if this video touched something in me, if something softened or realigned or fell into place, then subscribe. Not because you have to, but because you know this space resonates at a level you are ready to live, and you are no longer here to chase, you are here to remember. Let's continue to walk this frequency together. And in order not to miss more revelations and secrets of quantum physics, subscribe to the channel and become the architect of your reality.